to reach the goal sooner or later, but when we reach the goal, we have to give up all the means to reach, who have helped us in the way. We have to renounce everything. This is how we have discussed about the scriptures. Scriptures also helps us always in the way. But when you achieve the goal, then you have to give up all the scriptures. But don't mistake, you cannot give up your Guru. No condition, no condition. He is not means to achieve the goal, but his goal itself means to goal. Every way he is always with you. And that is what we see from many instances, from stories of great yogis and all the great saints and sages. One who has left his Guru, he is nowhere, nowhere. And then we saw yada hi nendiyarthesu na karma svanusajyate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudhastadochyate. And who is called a yoga rudh means who has achieved the goal, practicing the path of yoga. One who has controlled all his senses, and then after that only who is not involved in the karmas. So karmas we get involved because of desires and because of achieving the desire, to fulfill the desire, and attachment with this sense object. All these they push us to do some karmas. And if all these are not there, and indriyas, the senses, has no work, so in that way one who has been able to give up the attachment to the karma and who has no desires, control all his desires, thereby all the senses are controlled. No action is need to be done. In this way, one who has done all these, he is considered to be a renunciate, not otherwise. And then he is taken for granted that he has achieved the goal of yoga. Now, yesterday we had seen little, today we shall discuss elaborately. Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayat atmeva yatmanvo bandhu atmeva ripuratmanah. One should raise oneself by oneself alone. One's self alone means yourself will be a helping hand to raise yourself from all these dualism and to have union with the Absolute. Let not one lower in oneself, for the self alone is the friend of oneself, and the self alone is the enemy of oneself. That means clearly he says, you are your enemy, you are your friend, nobody else is cause for your pain and pleasure, Friends are always helping hands, and enemies are disturbing or interruptions in the way. This is how we understand enemies and friends. And you create the friends and enemies. Vyavaharena, I told you yesterday, Vyavaharena jayate ripavah bandhavas tatha. Nobody is friend to you nor enemy to you by birth or by itself. You, by your relative transactions, day-to-day behavior, you create the person to be enemy or friend. And on the other hand, we have discussed already several times, no object, no actions are ever good or bad. You are the cause for its goodness or badness. You make it so. You are the cause. It is not the objects nor the action you do. No action is good or bad. The motive behind it and the way of performance of the action and the enforcement, how you are forced to do actions, all these are considered for an action, and then the action becomes good or bad. It is only for you. The same thing is not so as it appears before you. It is different for others. Same thing, same object, same action. See, the mother gives a slap to her dear child, and the same mother if gives a child to other's child, what is hell and heaven difference between these two? Same action is done for the child only, by the same person, but it creates so much difference. Your relationship, your motive behind it, your love and your behavior, everything is considered here. And object, we see the same fan or AC ki taisi, that is very good at summer days, and same thing is so poisonous. We cannot look at it in severe winter days. Same thing. So we come to conclusion, no object is good or bad. The situations, your use of it, your motive of using it, time, situations, conditions, they are responsible for its goodness or badness. So don't consider anything to be good or bad. So what is the consequence out of all these discussions? You are the cause, none others. On this, can I tell you a beautiful story? Beautiful story. The story is told to understand this. The sloka goes like this. Sukhasya dukhasya na kopi data. Nobody is giver of pain or pleasure to you. Nobody is there. It is not outer agencies who give pain or pleasure to you. You are the cause for it. Sukhasya dukhasya na kopi data. Swakarma sutrena baddhahi lokaha. One is bound by the thread of karma which links the whole world. Karma pradhana vishwa kari rakha, jo jasa kare tasa phal chakha. The same field yields bumper crop for one farmer, and for other it gives nothing. It depends upon the farmer, not the field. So, other examples, see the desert. Rajasthan was previously, it was yielding nothing. Nowadays, the beautiful oranges and many other fruits we get from Rajasthan only. How? Because of irrigation.
Last year the floods are there.
Pardon?
Last year it got floods.
It was flooded. So it is water and the timingly watering system, irrigation system, and that makes the yield. And we cannot accuse the field, the soil. In this way, he says, Swakarma sutrena baddhahi loka. Otherwise, here also we get the same formula in Gita. Sutre manigana iva. Just as the thread links all the beads of pearls and it becomes a garland. Same thing for a flower garland. Everywhere, many are linked by the internal connective thread. So in this way, the whole universe works on karma. Karma is the internal, invisible thread which creates the relationships, and that relationships makes your friend and foe, both. So karma sutrena baddhahi loka aham karomiti vrithabhimanaha. It is false ego to think I have done this. It is only false ego. Ego does nothing. Your actions with motive and situations, that does everything. No ego does anything, nor the senses, nor the nature, nor you, nobody. The quality of action, of course it is prompted, forced by many causes. But finally, your karma is responsible. Aham karomiti vrithabhimana. This is false ego who says, I have done like this. Or somebody has given it to me, either pain or pleasure. Paro dadati iti kubuddhiresa. My uncle has gifted this to me. It is a wrong assumption. My father-in-law has given so much dowry. I am enjoying it. It is a wrong notion. I have toiled so hard, and because of my labor, I have brought so much wealth. That is also wrong. And your actions are responsible for your present pain or pleasure. And if action is responsible, so now will it be responsible for the present situation? No, it is not so. It depends upon time, situations, conditions. Then only it fructifies. If you put a seed in the ground of mango, do you think it will give you fruits tomorrow? Once, of course, this is another story, not now. I am telling you the great ideal story in the Puranas. It is very often referred. Who is responsible for your bad luck and good luck? There was a king. He was very honest, very good to his people, subjects, and everybody was loving him, obeying him. Everything was going on nicely. Some group of dacoits, they thought this fellow, we should loot him somehow or other. There is plenty of wealth there. So how to enter? They had planned. And at the end of the night, generally everybody feels drowsy. So at that time the watchmen, the police people, Katwa, they will be feeling drowsy. Sometimes they will be nodding their heads. So at that time we shall see the chance. We shall enter in, and then at that time everybody will be in clutches of sleep. We can't do anything and everything. It was successful. They entered into the palace and looted everything while everybody was sleeping, and these fellows somehow could manage to run away. And when they ran away, somehow the watchmen, they got up and they got some symptoms. Hari, something unearth ho gaya, something has gone wrong. All of a sudden they could realize, oh, the dacoits had entered in and they have looted. Will not be pardoned by the king. What to do? Then and there they dressed their, made ready their horses, cheered them. And the dacoits were very clever. They had all the plans, and they also ran away. The police were chasing them, and somehow they came closer. So the dacoit chief, gang leader, he thought we will be caught. They entered into the dense forest. There was no way, nothing. And the police people also could chase them and come just near them. And at that time, in dense forest where no people can enter, in such isolated deep forest, all of a sudden the ringleader could see some Mahatma is sitting under a tree and a leaf was on his head and he was moored in samadhi, no sense of outer world. So they got the chance, they were very clever. They put all the things before him and to get really to get away from the mind of the police people, to escape from them. And he ordered, go and hide yourself wherever, in whatever way you can. save yourself. So the thieves, they scattered away somewhere, someone, and they could manage to hide themselves. And the police people came, and they saw all the ornaments are there. So they thought it is but natural to think so. They thought this fellow, the monk, this fellow is the ringleader and he is pretending to be a monk now. They have all the methods to change their shape and size and everything, dress, and so this fellow is pretending now and keeping all these here. Yes, catch him. They caught him. Oh fellow, your pretense will not do. But he is nothing, hearing nothing. They started beating. No reaction. Oh, this fellow knows some magic. Will not leave you. So they pick him up and put in the horse and brought all the those riches and came back to let the thieves go, but we have caught the leaders and all the wealth we have captured. So now king will not punish us. They went to the palace back, and by that time it was daytime, and they informed the king, we have done our duty successfully. Somehow it happened, little unawareness, carelessness, but we have done our duty. We have brought everything, and the leader is caught. The king didn't think anything. He was full of anger. How could he dare do so? Huh? Put him on Suli. Suli, there was some olden method to give death punishment, to make a culprit sit on the very sharp, unpointed, needle-pointed, some iron pillar, and where all sides are blade like sharp, there will be many furrows, and everything will be so sharp. And when the person is made sit on it, naturally it will pass through the anus, and slowly it will come and get through the head, and the person dies. Terrific pain one. There is no other go to get out of it. It cannot do anything. So that was the punishment in olden days. The king ordered, put him on Suli. So he was put there. The monk, till then he was in Samadhi. He didn't know anything. And when he was put on the Suli, there also he didn't feel anything. When the Suli's point was piercing in the body and touched the Brahmarandhra, where the prana was settled firmly by the yogi, then he could feel the prana was disturbed, and then he felt some pain, and by his yogic power he made it stable, not to pass through. So he was sitting on that and he was able to recollect how it could happen. Who made it so? How could I come here and who made me sit over here? He was sitting just like a stone there. Nothing happened to him. He controlled his pain by yogic power. And for a long time he was not dying. Then these fellows had doubt. This fellow knows certainly some mantras, tantras, some magic, black magic. That's why he was sitting there. He has no feeling for our beatings and other things. Now also he is not dying. So they reported to the king, "O great one, this fellow knows black magic. And he is sitting there, he is not meeting death. What to do?" So the king had some doubt. How can a thief will have such powers? I suspect he will not be the thief. When the king came to see the person, he could recognize, "Oh, what have you done? You foolish nonsense rascals, what have you done? Remove him from Suli as soon as possible." They were trembling. What has happened? And they removed the monk and made him stand before the king. King, he fell at his feet and started weeping, begging excuse. "Oh great one, please excuse me. It is my wrong. I have given the order for you. I don't know anything. I am your child. Please save me." Or else he can do it and undo anything. He was the great saint called Lomas Rishi. Lomas Rishi, he had no other work. So what work is there in the society? He used to pass time in such dense forest. And Lomas Rishi is famous to be one of the long-living beings. Long-living, if a Brahma dies, a creator dies, the whole creation gets dissolved, then his body is full of hairs only like a bear, and one hair will fall down. If a Brahma dies, and it is said till now some 2 inches of thigh is without hairs. When a whole body will be hairless, then he will meet death.
उनका वो black hair या white hair?
He is now very young.
नहीं वो रंगीला बता रहे थे ना, वो शाम में रंगीला बाल भी हो
सकता है। मैं तो देखा था काला था, अभी कुछ मेहंदी वगैरह लगा करके कुछ किए हो गए तो अलग बात है। अच्छा। So somebody asked him, "Oh great one, you have such power, you can do and undo the creations, and why don't you make a good palace and sit there?" So he answers, "My dear, I have no so much time to construct something. Life is very short. I cannot spend time uselessly constructing something. So I am using some leaf on the head to protect myself from the rains and other things. I have no so much time." I cannot misuse time. So when he stood up and the king recognized him and fell at his feet, weeping, means feeling his own fault, he excused the king. He said, "O king, don't worry. I am not going to curse you. You are not the cause. The cause is the time. Yamaraj. I shall go and see him, and if I am to punish anyone, I shall punish him only. What have I done as a result of which he made me suffer like this? What is the reason? I shall ask him, not to you. You are not the cause." He went to Yamaraj. Yamaraj was trembling. This fellow has come with red eyes. What will do? Got up from the throne. "Oh, my lord, please come." He was red with anger. "Oh fellow, come on, tell me, what for you made me suffer like this? You have to tell me the reason, or else see what can I do." "My lord, I don't know anything. My minister Chitragupta knows everything." "Let me ask him." "Yes, come on. What for you made him suffer like that?" Chitragupta says, "I don't know anything. Let me see the file." Such a big
login.
login, and every page is only blank white pages. Nothing is written there. Went on turning the pages. In the end, in his childhood, something was written in some page. He got the cause. He asked, "Oh Lord, please remember your childhood. What have you done? When you was a small boy, at that time you caught hold of a dragonfly with your friends. Generally the children, they play with such butterflies, dragonflies and other. They tie up their neck or something and they made them fly and enjoy." Did you catch hold of any dragonfly and tied it with a thread and you were enjoying, it was flying, but it was caught by you? And what did you do? You picked up a thorn and entered into its anus, and it was shaking, and you enjoyed its flapping, and you enjoyed it, and by chance it was escaped from your hand and the thorn fall down. Did it happen? Can you remember it? You are all knower. What we can say before you? He meditated. Yes, it is true. So this is your karma. We are not responsible for it. Because he was saved and that thorn fell down, that's why you were removed from the suli, or else you would have died there. This is the result of your karma you have done in the childhood. Is it right? Yes, my dear. Yes. So you are also not the cause for my pain. it is I. So he comes back to the king and gives this formula, sloka. O king, neither you nor the time, nor anybody is cause for my pain and pleasure. It is I. It is my karma. Nobody is responsible for this. Swakarma sutrena baddhai lokaha. The action, karma is swakarma, done by yourself, is the cause for it. Nobody else is cause for your pain nor pleasure.
श्लोका फिर से एक बार बोलिए।
Huh?
श्लोका एक बार फिर से बोलिए।
Sloka? Sukhasya dukkhasya na kopi data swakarma sutrena baddhai lokaha aham karomiti vritha abhimana paro dadati tik buddhi resa. Misunderstanding. To say somebody has been cause for my pleasure or some pain. He has been cause for my suffering. He has put the case against me and I had to suffer so much. No, nobody is cause for you.
ये कौन से उपनिषद में?
उपनिषद नहीं, ये पुराण पुराण है ये ब्रह्म वैवर्त पुराण. हाँ जी, एपिक्स. Many such interesting stories are there in epics. अध्यात्म रामायण, yes, exactly, अध्यात्म रामायण. अध्यात्म रामायण, exactly. So now the same thing is told by Lord Krishna in different language. Nobody is cause for your friends and enemies or your pain and pleasure. It is you only. So we shall discuss how I am the cause. What am I? Who becomes the cause for my pleasure and pain, my yield of my karmas. Who is that? So is it my karma only? If it is karma only, who does the karma? That we have to understand. How all these actions are being performed, who does all these? So if we analyze this very minutely, yesterday we have discussed how one thought can change our life, and not only our life, our whole world. The whole world can be changed by one thought. One idea can change your world. So how it happens? One thought repeated again and again, that becomes your habit. Habit repeated becomes character. Character repeated becomes your life and lifestyle, your personality, and that is your luck, your niyati. So you are the cause for your fate. You create your fate. And otherwise, if we see from other angle, this one thought, how it is created? Who has created this thought? Why it is created? So we see thought is nothing but a wave. And again, wave is nothing but imbalanced state of this same balanced state. Then who has been the cause for imbalancing the balanced state? It is this action itself is known as nature. Nature. So, in different names, it is expressed by different seers. Somebody says it is Mula Prakriti, the primordial energy which manifests in three ways: Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, Trigunatmika Mula Prakriti. Somebody says, no, it is Maya. It is Anirvachaniya. It is beyond expression, beyond language and expression. Nobody can say what it is or what it is not. Somebody say it is ignorance or Brahma, means it is ignorance means misunderstanding or confusive understanding. Somebody say this is called the prana, a form of the nature that provokes everyone to be restless or to be moving, to get some motion. That is called prana. The action itself is known as prana. That is imbalanced state. And how it happens? It is by the will of the Absolute. It is not the will of the Absolute, but the will of the presence of the Absolute, not the Absolute is directly involved in it. Its presence does everything. That is called the causal body, which is cause for everything. That we understand presence, which is nothing but absence only. That absence is not direct presence, but indirect presence. Just as the king doesn't do personally everything, his subordinates, his helpers, ministers, they do all the things and his order does everything. The king has to go nowhere, just his order. His will, his order makes everything activated. And that too, when his personal presence is not available, he sends some representative. That representative is the presence of so-called appearing, assuming presence of the reality which is not real. It is real in one sense, in other sense it is just some representative. It is just like the resemblance, the shadow or the reflection of the object, which is not wrong, not false, not true. Nothing can be said over it. And once it is reflected within itself, just as in the mirror or in the prism, in the crystals, we see its own reflection is reflected within itself, which is not describable because of its purity, absolute purity. This is what happens. The purity is the cause, transparency is the cause, and completeness is the cause. Whole totality is the cause, because there is no other one without him. So everything happens within itself. So in this way, the karma and karma phala goes on in the cycle. Nobody is cause for it. And from other angle, if you see, the same process is called the nature. Prakritehe kriyamanani gunehi karmani sarvasaha. So by some it is assumed for the truth that the nature does all this by the help of the three qualities, gunas, and imbalancing it. When it gets absolute balanced state, no action can take place. When it becomes imbalanced, then only something is seen or nothing is seen. Nobody is here there, nobody is seen there, nobody is there which can be said the mediocre, the action. Karta, Kriya, Karma, all these triads are not found there. But yet it is assumed. By this only the whole world is going on, which is basically not the reality. So in this way something we have to understand. So tomorrow we shall see again the same sloka, how you become your friend and you become your foe. Who is that? What am I? How I am identified as the doer. Here from all round vision we have seen the nature is the doer, the prana is the doer, or the mind is the doer. But how can I say, I am my friend, I am my enemy? Then what is that I? We have to see tomorrow. So, Hari Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnata Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. Sachidananda Bhagavan ki jai. Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Gita Mata ki jai. Hari